Hello and good evening, everybody. It's been a while, but the boys are back in town for the 50th episode of No Punches Pulled. JFT top right, LT Sweet Boxing Science bottom. Boys, good to have you back. How are we?
Tip top, man. Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm just in time for an exciting November, December. Really, we've got a good finish to the year. It's been a stop-start few months, but we've got decent fights this weekend. Massive fights the weekend after. There's UFC sprinkled in. So yeah, really glad to be back with my two favourite people to talk fight sports with.
Yeah, good to be back. It has been a bit of a stop-start few months. I mean, last weekend was a big weekend of fights. Unfortunately, the UFC ended up with being a damp squid in terms of the main event, but obviously the boxing delivered, especially the main event of the O2 card, delivered in a way that's shaken up the top end of the heavyweight division, especially whilst we wait to see what Mr. Usyk's going to do going into 26.
Absolutely. Can I just put this out there? BT box office. Can I have my $99.99, whatever it was, $19.99 back, please? No, I never watched it.
No, I know. Yeah,
you're supposed to get your money back if you don't watch it. And I rushed home, sat down in front of the TV, and looked at my phone and thought, yeah, I won't watch that now because I'd seen the result. So yeah, I'd like my money back, please.
Yeah, well, if you're watching any TNT Sports execs, which I'm sure you do,
yes,
get JFT his money back.
Get me my 20 quid back.
We'll start there then, boys. I'm sure you boys have covered it anyway, but for anybody who hasn't seen our opinions on it so far, Fabio Wardley stopping Joseph Parker in the penultimate round 11 of 12 at the O2. So he's cemented himself really as next for Usyk. He's WBO interim champion now. I don't think Usyk will fight him if I'm being honest. Big up, Dave. Thanks for joining us always, my friend. Saw JFT's little cameo the other day with the boys. Big up,
Tractor Squad.
So Fabio's in a great position. I mean, look, the journey he's been on, pretty incredible, isn't it? Even from the summer, Justice Hooney pretty much won every second, and he landed a bomb on him. He was in the Parker fight. He had him going in the second round. But the talking point is Mr. Howard Foster, of course. Don't want to dwell on it now because it is a little bit old news. But let's get your opinion on it.
What about just before
DJ Pat? Is it under a new alias?
I think so. Yeah.
Hope you're well, okay. Thanks for joining.
I just wanted to say that, I think Dave in accounts is possibly one of the best chins in boxing because imagine how he feels now doing 4-2s with Fabio Wardley, who's now world level. Dave in HR. Look, I'll start because Liam will be fawning in a second, but. He backed his boy. Look, I was one of the first people to say online, I wouldn't say ate humble pie on Sunday morning, late Saturday evening, because I wouldn't say that Fabio sort of, decisively beat Joe Parker in that respect. It was, for me, and I'm not just saying this because I picked Parker, but I actually had Parker winning at the time of the stoppage, but only just, right? It could have gone either way, and it's subjective, and we've done this before where we've all watched the same fight, and we've all scored differently. So it all depends what you see. I've watched it a couple of times, and I do think that Parker was edging it. But
it was up 6, up 2, and 1 draw card from what I mean.
Remember. But you could start to see a momentum shift, and it looked like Fabio got a second wind, and Joe just didn't have it there. So he couldn't really evade the shots. I know that people are arguing it was an early stoppage, and a lot of them missed, and a lot of them were. But look, Wardley did his job. He obviously learned, or the team learned from his previous fight, because I'd sort of said, look, Parker's better than Hooney. He struggled against Hooney.
Yeah, that was the logical path, wasn't it?
Logical path. But we are seeing, in front of our own eyes, incremental. It just gets better. We've seen little subtle changes in his movement, his footwork, his feints, the way he throws. Do you know what I really like from him? It was baiting Parker in, then feinting with a shot, then feinting again, and then throwing the third shot. Yeah. And Parker couldn't handle it because normally you'll feint and then you'll throw your combination, and it was sort of stutter stepping, then going again. Yeah. I'm seeing growth like I've never seen, and I'm not just saying this because he's getting tested. They say it about a Talma. Oh, he's getting better every time. It's the same shit, man. It's the same shit. It's just the same shit. Crap style of opponent. and they're tailor-made for him other than Dillian White, but he didn't turn up. But for me, Fabio's miles off Usyk. He's miles off them. I'd prefer to see him in with the likes of Joshua, someone like that, a massive name, former world champion, because he's not getting the Usyk fight, so I don't know why.
There's an issue there, isn't there? Fabio, Joshua, Moses, they're all fighting out of... Well, I know Fabio's head trainer isn't Ben Davison, but he does work with Ben Davison, Lee Wiley, doesn't he? So,
but he don't work with Joshua, though, does he, as such?
Yeah, but, I mean, even Moses in the post-fight was kind of saying, look, Fabio's my guy, I don't... But Liam, obviously, we'll let you have your moment now on your main man, but I think with Fabio, before I pass it over to you, he's got two things that are going to stand you pretty well when you're having a fist fight with somebody. He hits like an absolute mule, and he's got a rock-solid chin.
What a chin.
If you've got that in boxing, then you're going to go pretty far, probably, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'll echo what Jay said. I had Joe 2 rounds up going into that 11th. Fabio was competing more in the fight than perhaps I expected, being really honest about it. I did fear we could see 12 comfortable rounds from Joe Parker. But, Fabio had his moments. That second round, he rocked Joe, didn't he? And you wondered, here we go, is it going to go early? But again, he just seems to find a moment in a fight where he goes, right, I'm going to turn the screw now. He'd done it in the Hooney fight, but in this fight, it was more sustained. It was, I think if you watch it back, that final sequence is 30 or 40 seconds where Joe bounces from the ropes in front of where Frank and that was sitting to the ropes by where the officials were. And we didn't see any shots from Joe in that time. So
one. He threw one sort of shovel. But yeah.
It's the fight sports. Look, people saying it's an early stoppage. It's fight sports. If Howard Foster didn't jump in then, we could have been 10 seconds away from Joe splattered and going out the ring in a very different way to what he did. So it comes down to what you want to see. But improvements are there from Fabio. Look, we don't need to keep traipsing over the white-collar background, but anyone in the Suffolk area that did fight Fabio in that tent in Chantry Park, I'm sure
you're the man.
Fantastic stories to tell down the pubs when they're out now when you look at the journey Fabio's been on. I mean, look, WBA interim champion in June. He gave that up for the Parker shot for the little it's worth. He's now WBO. You look at the rankings that have come out, the only two people above him, Usyk and Tyson Fury, somehow still number one. So if you want to really play devil's advocate, he's number one behind Usyk in terms of what's to come next. I don't think he will get the Usyk fight. I don't personally want...
That's good. Good if he doesn't get the Usyk fight. He's going to be champion of the world. The WBO's next in line to be called in at heavyweight. If Usyk does not fight Fabio Wardley will be elevated from interim to full WBO world champion. I'd say it's more likely that Fabio Wardley is going to be a world champion before lacing his next pair of gloves than it's not.
His next fight will be his first defense of the WBO belt. That's honestly how I view it. I think
that's crazy, isn't it? What
Caballel, maybe?
Yeah. Caballel's fighting Yoker, isn't he, in January? I think that's done now.
Yeah, so after that, when he absolutely railroads Yoker.
The best thing is, sorry, Joe, you take Usyk out of the equation, the next 10, 11 heavyweights that you could call for someone, to fight Fabio Wardley would be a great fight. Caballel's in there, Ajagba's in there, Bacoli, the Jarrell
British showdown. That's a great fight.
I think they're talking about. Are they not talking about Moses versus Dubois? I have seen that banded around. I don't know how true that is.
Well, Moses
there's loads getting banded around. Dubois called out Caballel, didn't he, on the stage on Saturday night and said, "I'll fight you in January." I mean, the Yoka fight's done, so we know we're not getting that in January. But there's so many options there. If you look, Usyk not fighting for another 7-8 months doesn't stop him being the number one. The belts don't define for us. We know he's number one. So if the belts fragment away and your lights of Caballel, Wardley, etc., get their chance to fight. And if Usyk comes back in a year and says, right, you've picked up my belts. Okay, now I'll fight you. He's still the number one for us. But this next wave of heavyweights just underneath Usyk is fascinating to see what's going to happen next year because all the governing bodies either need to make Usyk a champion in recess so he can come back at any point or strip him because there's an interim champion in every single division bar the IBF. That tells you everything you need to know.
They're the ones that are quick to strip out. There
was an interim champion, wasn't there, Dubois, and then they called that and Usyk vacated very quickly, didn't they? If you remember, after he beat Fury in the first fight.
Dubois picked up against Hrgovic, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
It does finally feel that the heavyweight division is starting to turn a corner. The old guard are either going to retire or have one final fight, and then the belts will fragment. And it's great to see a new crop coming through and a British crop coming through of
Yeah.
world-class heavyweights. I mean, there's only the likes of, maybe Torres, Caballel, that are really outside of the Brit. The Brits have got the top 5, probably. Certainly 3 of the top 5. Young as well. I mean, Fabio's 31, is he?
Yeah, he's 30 odd, isn't he, Fabio? Yeah.
And then we've got
Dubois,
Moses at 20,
28.
Dubois 27. So we've got, good 10 years of some great domestic showdowns and, world level, world title implications as well. I'm really excited for the coming years. It's certainly for the heavyweight division.
Yeah, it's breathed new life into it. Look, we all love Joe Parker. We all know that he should have got his fight with Dubois earlier this year, and for 2 of the 3 of us, we had him beaten. Dubois, obviously, what's happened there is gone, but it's, Joe Parker, that's just, okay, someone that's been waiting 3-4 years for their turn. This Fabio victory does feel like it's breathed that new life into it that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, there's going to be a lot to open up, I think, in the next 3 to 4 months in the heavyweight division. But yeah, I think Fabio is going to be elevated without putting a pair of gloves on. So fair play to him. What a story. We'll move into this week then, boys. I'm sure we'll be there forever talking about the heavyweights, the big card, or should I say the main card. Obviously, Eddie's got one in Orlando, Perro against Jordan Thompson, Pat Brown, I think, in the co-main slot. But Buatsi against Parker, the Co-op Live Manchester Queensbury show. They seem to like this DAZN, don't they? The UK boxing, then straight into the US boxing. Dave Allen and Boots, didn't they, the other week? So just take the floor, Jay. Cameron on the undercard as well.
I need to ask you guys a couple of questions, because I don't know whether BoxRec was playing games with me this morning, but I lost my mind looking at that fight. So I looked at Buatsi and I clicked on him. Then I clicked on Zach Parker and it said something like 20-3, and I'm like, And I scrolled down, and his 3rd fight he'd lost to Buatsi, then he'd lost to somebody, and I'm like, this ain't the second. They've not fought before, have they?
Record or something.
Not a clue. Then I went back on Buatsi, and Buatsi was 30-11-4, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? BoxRec lost its shit today, but. It's a decent card. I mean, it's a light heavyweight card, isn't it?
It is a light heavyweight card, yeah.
Lyndon Arthur and Brad Ray.
Yeah.
Troy James and... is it Troy James?
Yeah, Troy Jones against Liam Cameron.
Troy Jones, sorry. Troy James is the kid that fought... somebody that boxed at the weekend. Woodall. I think he's boxed Woodall, Steve Woodall, or Ezra Taylor. Ezra Taylor has beat... Anyway. It's a decent domestic card. We've been crying out for a decent domestic card over the last few months. There was an all right domestic card last week. The Parker Wardley undercard wasn't shit. It wasn't a pay-per-view standard. And this isn't a pay-per-view, but this is actually a better domestic card than the one last week. Yeah, the main event. Bottom, yeah. The main event's not as big as that, but domestically, I mean, it's got some implications. If Parker beats Buatsi, wow. He's off to the races. That's a real big scalp for him. What kind of performance are we going to see from Buatsi? He was the golden boy, then his promoter dropped him, then he went somewhere else, then he's left that promoter. He's now gone to Queensbury, and what's he going to be like now this air of invincibility's gone? Because he was soundly beaten in his last fight. Great fight. But he lost pretty much every minute.
Yeah,
every
Smith
round.
was better than him.
He was in the fight, but he lost convincingly, right? I want to see what he's like. Is he going to take risks? Is he going to do... Because he takes a lot of punches, does Buatsi, doesn't he? And Callum Smith made him pay for that. Zach Parker's got a bit of a bat on him. He's not a knockout merchant as such.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued to see what Buatsi's got. Not what he's got left, because that's disrespectful, but what kind of state he's in, having faced defeat for the first time in the pros.
As well here. I think Parker, since he broke his hand against John Ryder, I think he has. He fought Tyrone Zerga, the one who I think he fought one of the Smith brothers years ago.
Zerga was the WBO, wasn't he? The WBO
WBA regular.
WBA regular. Then Rocky beat him. Then Canelo fought Rocky for it, didn't he? Yeah, I remember it all now. Look. I think Dave's onto it there. It's set up for Buatsi to have a big,
it is.
Good name. He's a good fighter, but Buatsi should beat him.
Depends. Yeah, but Buatsi, as we knew him, should beat him fairly convincingly.
Yeah.
We don't know whether he's had a lot of issues with his
still with
promoter.
Hunter.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, but he's had a lot of crap go on outside the ring. He's had contractual disputes. He's not. But I mean, when did he fight Smith? It's must
February
be.
on the
22nd,
Bivol
wasn't it?
every match.
So we're talking, you know,
Bivol.
9 months ago. He's coming off a loss. You know, Parker's going to have a decent camp because this is a massive opportunity for him. I agree with Dave. If both are as we know they are, then Buatsi wins this fight. But, you know, stranger things have happened. It's put a bit more intrigue on the main event for me, the fact that Buatsi's coming off that loss.
Look, let's be really honest about it. We don't get Zach Parker fighting Joshua Buatsi without Buatsi having the loss. That's the reality. This is him having to come down a level. I mean, he's gone from WBO interim, I've just seen on BoxRec. This is for a WBO international trinket or something. So he's staying down the WBO route for the little it's worth. But this is a sort of a coming back down to a domestic level. Yes, okay, Callum Smith's a domestic opponent, but he's a world level domestic opponent. We have not seen anything from Zach Parker to suggest that he can get to world level. That's not to say he can't do it, but what he's done in his career, the one time he truly stepped up against John Ryder, yes, he broke his hand, but he'd lost all 4 rounds even before he broke his hand. He hadn't shown us anything in that fight. I think, look, I've just looked on Buatsi's socials. Virgil Hunter's been there doing the training camp, so he's not changed his training team. So that's the positive to see. He's not made any rash decisions. He's stuck with the same team, obviously, despite the defeat. Buatsi turns up. It's a 10-round fight. We get, you know, a 9 rounds to 1, 10-0 kind of boxing performance from Buatsi. But as Jay said, if there is any sort of hangover from the Callum Smith fight, if he's more hesitant coming forward because of how regularly he was being punished in his last fight for his lapses in defensive concentration, then there's openings for Zach Parker. You know, Dave's right. The Zerga fight in particular for Parker really stands out to me because that was a last-minute standing opponent, and he still sort of laboured through the 10 rounds and never really looked like he was going to go through the gears and get
badly hurt and dropped in that fight as well.
Yeah, it's a strange one with Parker. So much potential, so much hype until he ran into John Ryder, and that was one of the, you know, back before we had Turkey come into boxing, and it was very scarce that Queensbury and Matchroom fighters fought each other, wasn't it? That fight, that was one of those rare occasions. I just think Buatsi should have too much. I'm more intrigued by this fight than I was obviously prior to February, but Buatsi should win this at a canter. If he's still got ambitions of trying to climb back up towards world honours, he should win this at a canter.
Yeah, I have to disagree. Dave's never right, but yeah, I get the sentiment.
That's you never getting invited back on, mate.
Bradley Ray's defending his European Championship then at the same weight against Lyndon Arthur. He beat Shakan Pitters, didn't he, on the GBM card, the curse fight that finally happened. Yep. Lyndon fought Yard, didn't he, in the third time in November. It's a bit of a lackluster fight, and Eubank Ben won. April, not November. The next one's November.
Next one's 15.
Yes, I thought that's very soon, 2 weeks Saturday. Any thoughts on that then, boys? Obviously, big fight for Rays, 7 years younger than Lyndon Arthur, who's, you know, I wouldn't say he's had a tough career. You know, he hasn't really been badly stopped apart from Yard in the rematch or anything, but big opportunity for Ray to try and propel himself towards kind of fitting world level.
For me, and it pisses me off with Lyndon because he's got all the skill set, hits fairly hard, he's got a decent chin on him, but he seems to switch off in fights for me. I don't know whether he gets bored, whether he can't keep concentration, but there's bits of fights that he loses that he shouldn't lose, and he's sort of, I don't know, man, because like he retired, didn't he, and then he came back for the Yard fight. I don't know whether it was the money or what, but he'd retired, hadn't he? He'd had enough. He'd quit. You know, dipped his toe in and got out. And I thought, great, you know, he's not going out, he's not bowing out on a horrendous defeat. And, you know, hopefully he's made, you know, enough money to, you know, because anyone that knows Lyndon Arthur's stories, you know, I had a bit of a troubled upbringing. You know, and boxing sort of saved him and took him off the streets, and a lot of his peer group got into badness and whatnot. So it's a real good one of those, you know, good stories. But I get frustrated with him. I just think he could be one of the nearly men, that potentially could have done better than he has. And I'm not disrespecting what he's done. He's done more than I could even dream of. But I just think I'm underwhelmed by him sometimes. I think, as I said, he looks like he gets bored in fights. And maybe this will be him coming and making a statement. Because for me, if he turns up, he could beat Bradbury. But is he fresh enough still? Has he got enough left? If Ray, because this is his coming out party, so to speak. He won the belt when he wasn't the favourite. I don't know. I hate to pick a winner in this fight. It's one of them for me. Parker on paper should win, but if Lyndon turns up, then Lyndon should win because he's boxed at a better level more consistently. But it's what Lyndon Arthur turns up. Can he be asked, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Frustrating is the word for Lyndon Arthur's career, isn't it? He can look absolutely spectacular, like when he only boxed with one hand against Yard during COVID in the first fight, or you get the Lyndon Arthur that turned up against Bivol on the Day of Reckoning cards, where he was pretty much happy to just get through the 36 minutes against Bivol. That's there never seems to be an in between. He's either on it and
all
looks
in
like
or
no
not.
Visa, or he looks like he'd rather be sitting in his hotel room eating a takeaway. That's the two. There's no in between. And if we get the second of those options from Lyndon on Saturday night, then look, Bradbury is not only fighting to defend his title. Boxer obviously dropped him and haven't taken him over to BBC, so he's fighting as a free agent. He knows with how Frank works, he wins this on Saturday.
Oh yeah,
there's a Queensbury deal there for him, and a fighter like Bradbury, who's come through the small hall circuit, who got his chance with Boxer and thrived off of it until he lost the fight and Boxer decided they weren't going to use him anymore. That's one of the most dangerous types of fighter, a fighter that's fighting not just for a belt, they're fighting to secure their future, their family, etc.
Reference Troy Williamson in that. He did something very similar, didn't he? And he, promoter wasn't around. Sorry, Liam. So just
No, I was just about to say, we know, obviously, we'll come on to talk about Troy's potential December fight as well. I'm with you, Jay. It's a difficult one to pick because you look at their resumes and you should be fairly confident in picking Lyndon Arthur.
Yeah.
But I'm not at all. It wouldn't at all surprise me to see it be a really
Ray's the favourite.
It doesn't surprise me Brad's the favourite. You could go on the eye test of what you've seen from him recently. Brad Ray looks fantastic when he beat Shakan Pitters. And Lyndon, yes, he had his moments in that Anthony Yard fight, but it was a turgid watch. We would talk about that fight.
Yeah, it was awful.
I wouldn't like to pick a winner, but I do lean towards Brad just because of what he's done recently. But Lyndon's one to make anyone eat a bit of humble pie if he decides he wants to turn up.
Yeah. I agree with that. We'll cover off some talking points then. You just mentioned it, Liam. Troy and Callum Simpson will hopefully well, we know it's going to happen. Hopefully it'll be announced this week for December. I've heard December 13th, but it's not official yet on BBC, which, as you say, Jay, what an opportunity for the Trojan there.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, as we know, he wasn't expected to beat Dickinson. Troy was brought in as a tough, I hate it, but they label him as a tough opponent, former British champion. And unfortunately, the two times that Eddie Hearn has brought Troy in as an opponent, he has flatlined your champion. So I think there's a lesson to be learned there, Eddie. Look, Troy's, we know him. He's a friend of the show, and I know him personally well. And he's never been gifted anything. He's earned everything the hard way. He's stopped boiling himself down to 160 before that 154. I don't know if anybody's seen he's been brought into Eubank Juniors. Towers over Eubank Juniors.
Oh, he's huge. I saw the pictures,
in comparison. And he's not out of shape either. Troy's been training.
Yeah.
I think he had a week off and he's gone straight back into camp. And, a hungry fighter and a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. And I mean, he's having his second child with his partner, Jay. His family life's stable. He's with a new training team. And this is no slight on Craig and the training team that brought him through to British title. But his coach, Jordan Nowers, was involved in the Cheeseman fight and he's always been on the periphery. But Craig didn't want to continue. I think he wanted Troy to retire and Troy didn't want to retire. And here we are. It's a massive opportunity. They both, the champion, Callum, I'm not dismissing. Callum is the British, Commonwealth, and European champion for a reason, and they both are fan favourites. Neither of them are in a boring fight. They both take numbers. Troy always sells his ticket allocation and more. Callum, look at the two fights he's had on home soil. They've both been sellouts.
Where do you think it'll be? Sheffield Arena?
Sheffield, I think. Manchester's booked out.
Barnsley, good numbers in Sheffield Arena.
Yeah, they're not going to do it in Barnsley at Oakwell. It's too cold. So I'm thinking Sheffield or Leeds. Leeds has got a little arena that's 10,000.
10,000 at first direct,
yeah, 8,000 or 9,000.
Leeds is sort of central for them both. I know it's more northern for Callum, but Troy's only Darlington. He's only 60 mile up the A1. But I am so excited for that fight. And I don't just mean that because I know Troy on a personal level. What a fight this is going to be.
It's a good fight.
Neither of them take a backward step, do they?
Yeah, Clash of Styles is great.
It's a British classic in the making for me.
Yeah, I think the first thing I'm going to say on it is if it is December 13th, then we're going to have a clash with what Frank's doing in Manchester, which no one wants to see. We don't want to see a show clash. Boxer, if Boxer's first two BBC shows...
They can't afford it. They can't afford it.
Their 22nd of November show, which is when Clark and TKV has been rearranged for, is clashing with Matchroom's Birmingham show. They can't afford to have a clash with what Frank does, even if
luckily, though, Liam, the Birmingham show is headlined by Ben Whittaker and some German taxi driver.
Granted, but the point still stands that they want this deal to go somewhere. They need to.
You want all eyes on the card, don't you? As many eyes as possible. You don't want some of them looking the other way because
I think they're going to go December 20th because I saw Callum Simpson put a tweet out and say, anyone ready for a Christmas cracker? So to me, that would lean towards.
That's December what I was about 20th. To say. I hope they go on the free weekend.
But there's rumours Chisora White could be on that date too. And if you're sticking that on pay-per-view, that fight on BBC is going to... I mean, it wouldn't do any... Who wants to watch Chisora White 3? I know.
Not on pay-per-view.
Everybody else does. But Fabio Wardley against Parker is a great fight. And I think that did a stinker on pay-per-view, to be honest.
Heavyweights. It's heavyweights though, mate. If you're going to put... Even though we know that it's going to be a fantastic domestic fight, if you say you've got a heavyweight card going on over there, that's going to attract more eyeballs, unfortunately. Boxer and Ben need to find... There's a couple of... Even if it's a Friday night in December, whatever they do, make sure they get a clean run for this. Because as Jay's just said... We're not just saying this for our own reasons. We know both men come forward, both men enjoy an aggressive type style of fighting, and it can't not deliver. It's been ordered by the European Commission, so we know the European belt's on it. I mean, I'd assume the British can be on it, as Troy's now the English champion, isn't he, after beating Dickinson?
I think that does give you a right to fight for the British. So I think I think all the belts will be on the line.
I hope so, mate. That's the thing. There's something about a British Commonwealth and European title fight. We've seen some great ones over the last 4 or 5 years, and I think this could be another cracker. And there's no way it can't be.
Yeah. Can I just add something just from last weekend that we missed? Congratulations to Mitchell Smith becoming the WBO European lightweight champion. I was talking to Dave's on their podcast, and I know Mitchell. I've known him a long time, and I picked him to win. Begrudgingly though, I picked him through heart really more than head. Logic said he would lose coming in on 8 days' notice against highly touted prospect. He looked absolutely fantastic. Had it all up against him. He's had a shit time recently. A lot of it self-inflicted. I'm not, harping on that he's been hard done by. But to get the call up at 8 days' notice, he was 6-round fit in a 10-round title fight as such. I know I moan about the belts, but look, someone I know has won one. It's like fucking winning a world title. That gives him a top 15 European ranking. And Frank, he's had a conversation with Uncle Frank. I was driving home from work this evening. He was on TalkSport. It's massive for him, man. Yeah. So well done, Mitchell Smith from the No Punches Pulled boys. Thank you.
Yeah, good shout on that, JFT. I'm not going to mention Mayweather and Pacquiao on there.
Please don't.
Please don't.
I can't be bothered. But I guess we'll round off. Look, I'm about for the watch along this weekend for Buatsi. If anybody wants to,
yes, we
do
are.
That. We're going to get back in the swing of things. Just looking at the schedule. Obviously Virgil Ortiz against Lubin headlines next weekend. Then you got the Netflix card on Friday the 14th. Jake Paul, Tank.
Totally forgot about that till today. Yeah.
Well, I saw that
Obviously-
photo of how crap the ticket sales are going. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
that
Tell you what, though,
surprised
Tank
me.
looks
Look,
massive.
Sam Gardner's on the undercard. Antoine Russell against Hiroka is
Michaela
actually a
Meyer
very good fight.
fights this weekend, don't you?
Who's
Yeah.
that?
Michaela
Myers
Michaela Meyer fights on Thursday. It's a random one. Bam Gardner and Scotty.
When's Haney?
on the November 22nd Saudi
So
card.
yeah, Eubank follows the night of Jake Paul and Tank, and then the week after that, you've got Benavidez, Yard, Haney, Norman, Noakes, Abdullah.
My mate Brian.
Yeah.
Boy
That's
Brian.
why I just started laughing.
Yeah,
I didn't say it for that.
Bam Rodriguez versus Puma Martinez as well. Then this is a sleeper card on December the 6th. Pitbull against Roach, Yanabek Lara, and Ashaki Foster against Fulton. That is a pretty good card, to be fair. Opataya Sin Cara as well floating in there. So lots going on. Of course, December the 27th, Inoue's back, that Japanese Riyadh season card. So a strong finish to the year. Boys, Dalton Smith's been announced against Matthias, hasn't he, for January the 10th as well. Dave's got a question for you, Jay, before we round out.
Thoughts on Casemiro?
I saw JFT throwing a bit of shade at Kameda.
I was going to say. Thanks. He could have, of all the quality nuggets I gave him on that hour, the one bit he posted online was, I'll tell you why, Kameda
is shit.
Shite.
Oh, I love it.
So what you're saying is we're really nice about him, but they've just taken the 5 seconds where you've gone the other way.
Wasn't impressed.
No, don't worry about that, mate. We've glossed over that.
I wasn't impressed. Not impressed at all. I didn't think he looked. Yeah, I think he looked every bit his age, and an influencer, etc. I think his opponent was shocking, but I said that prior to the fight. Did you guys get a chance to see it?
I didn't see the fight. I saw the highlights, and I saw Lewis Neary drop the guy and won a technical decision as well on those cards. But yeah, I mean, look, it wasn't a mega event, was it, or anything? I think the next, obviously, get this week out of the way. It's not a big week this week, but from next week onwards, I think we've got a proper good stretch now until the end of the year, really, haven't we? Even throughout Christmas with Inoue and everything like that, we're just boxing left, right, and centre.
Some decent boxing cards, some decent MMA cards as well. It's going to be
they're all on UK time, really, aren't they? You know, the Riyadh season, the big ones are November 22nd, is obviously in Chris Eubank Jr. against Conor Benn. You got Catrell Esserman, I think, on that.
I think we'd said that fight might happen, did we not?
Yes.
I think we'd said that. I mean, I'm picking Esserman for that fight. I swear to God,
look,
I'm never backing against that kid again.
Engine, man. I'm
never backing against that kid again. It's just something about him. Put him under the bright lights and he turns up.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good fight. You know,
very good.
Paul's been at 140, hasn't he? He's fighting at 147 now. So yeah, look, there's lots to get stuck into. Anything you boys want to let out before?
Didn't I see in Reactpaw fighting Scott Welch's lad, Tommy Welch?
Yeah, that's on the Eubank card, isn't it?
Yeah, that's snuck up, hasn't it? They've sort of thrown that together quick. I don't rate Welch, if I'm honest.
Yeah, he's with Billy now, isn't he, as well, Reactpaw?
What about that card in, is it Ghana, Nigeria? Lawrence Okoli.
That's December 20th, isn't it? Lawrence Okoli and
Queensbury.
Did you see Billy slagging them all off? Well, because they were all stood there and he went, well, he wasn't born in Nigeria and he was born in London and he was... Oh, turn it in, Billy.
Adelaide's on it and Okoli, isn't he?
Yes, it's a Queensbury Amir Khan promotion thing, which could be... For name value wise, it could be good, but you could also see that being an absolute. Yeah,
but that's something that Boxer could go up against with Simpson and Williamson. I think, to be fair,
Kyrgyzstan isn't Valentina Shevchenko.
That's where she's from. Yeah,
she's from Kyrgyzstan, isn't she?
Yeah. It's a weird place to put a back-to-back weekend.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I
don't
know whether they've got. But they do have mineral money there, I believe, so they've probably got weighed in well for it. It was just a strange place.
I hope they did.
In fact, to be fair, I think Kamada's brother was the promoter.
That probably explains it then. But no, we'll wrap it up there for tonight, boys. Been a pleasure getting back in the swing. I've no doubt we'll have plenty more to say before the week is out. Thanks, Dave, Pat, anybody else who's joined us. Appreciate it. Go and sub up to the boys as well, JFT and LT Sweet Boxing Science. Content coming as always from both of the boys. And yeah, anything to add, lads, before we wrap?
Not really, no. Just keep your eyes peeled, and you'll see us on Saturday night. We'll be doing watch-alongs Saturday night over on your channel, SW Fight Up. So yeah, join us.
Cheers, guys. Have a good evening, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.